more years ago than I would care to remember, I was actually at university, and during that time I was involved in student radio. I was more on the technical side, and back in those days I was thinking, if I need some technical assistance, I could ask a DJ. I now realize the error of my ways, and if you're a DJ who's good at the technical side, I apologize, but to the other 99% of you, we love your music. Now, if you have someone who's not so good at technology trying to work with audio, they're fairly quickly going to be overloaded with all the different parameters that are there with the gain, the EQ, the compression, what does that do, and gates. And if you're trying to work with all that, it does become a little bit confusing. Then you try and get into the world of digital audio and you have sampling rates, bit rates, dynamic range, all of these different parameters that you need to think about if you're going to have a clean signal throughout your system. Now, what we do with the stage links with our audio inputs is that we've created actually a universal input. So that means we don't care about the format within a couple of options. We don't care about the level. We don't care about what kind of source you're using. You just plug it in and it works. Now, how do we do that? Well, for the universal input, the different formats that we can support are either AS3 or an analog line level signal or an analog mic level signal. Now, the box itself will detect what kind of signal you have plugged in. You'll also find that in the web interface, you'll actually get a visual indicator of when the cable is connected and when it's not, which again gives you a little bit more feedback and helps you troubleshoot if a signal's not getting through. Now, it will automatically detect, as I said, between AS3 and analog, and we can work with line level signals and mic level signals thanks to a huge dynamic range at the input. Now, if you've worked with large productions in the past, maybe you've been in a situation where there's been two audio mixers used, a front of house mixer out behind the audience and a monitor mixer at the side of the stage. Now, traditionally, even if we're using digital audio for those two mixers, we're going to have one input, which is then shared between the two, but one of those two monitors is going to have the primary control over the gain of that input. Now, if the two audio engineers want to run different gain structures, you can adjust for this using trim, but it's a suboptimal solution. With StageLink, what we do is with our universal inputs, we actually have a huge 151.5, remember the 0.5, decibels of dynamic range on the input. That means that there is no need to adjust the analog gain before we get to the ADC. So we can take all of that dynamic range in the digital plane, and then actually we also have processes running in the background to work out how high the level is and then adapt the signal that we output in order to give a good audio signal without needing gain control. It will automatically take care of that for you so that if you have a not quite so technical DJ or maybe a journalist who's great with reporting, not so good with technology, then again, they can plug their microphone in and it's just going to work. Now, if you're an audio engineer, I'm sure you're aware that there are condenser mics and there are dynamic microphones, and the difference between them is that condenser mics need phantom power. Maybe you've seen this on mixers, the plus 48 volts button that you can press to supply power to a device that needs it. And the StageLink boxes with their universal inputs will actually automatically detect if the microphone that has been connected needs phantom power or not, and will automatically switch it on or off. That's on the input side. On the output side, we also have different modes of output. Now, I would love to be able to tell you that the StageLink boxes are able to psychically detect what input format is being detected by the box on the other end of the cable. However, unfortunately, the boxes are not psychic. So if you want to connect the box to a device which is expecting an AS3 signal, then in the web interface, you select AS3 as the output format. If, however, you're connecting to, let's say, an amplifier with an analog input, you can select an analog output for the output from the StageLink box, and then the signal will be output as an analog signal. So whichever format you need, it will just come out of the box. You just click on the correct option in the web interface, and then the cabling will allow that signal to be transported to the end device.